I grow tired of excuses. We need to have results as soon as possible, and we have not been able to get them on our end. So, whatever your plan is, you need to make sure that it will work. Last time on Lost Legends of Scadrial. Everybody's been trying to find work with no luck. When Clydus came forward, having found what looked like a pretty easy job out in the roughs, the group pretty much decided, this looks like it'll be easy pickings, let's just go do this. It's the ranches are the reason that you've been brought out here, because they put out a notice for some bounty hunter or other roughsmen to come out and deal with what is just being described as a beast harassing the town and its livestock.
We heard information about a beast, and we're here to help solve your town's problem.
Oh, you're here about the horse bear.
Horse bear?
I do have to apologize for my horrendous manners. I'm here about the horse bear, and I couldn't help but notice a couple glances you were sending our way. So, seeing your stack of books, I'm wondering if perhaps maybe you're one of the more learned types. Could give us some information about this local legend.
I think that I actually witnessed an attack from the horse bear not too long ago.
I would just like to ask the innkeeper one quick question. I don't imagine that you fellas happened to ask her how long she's been in town and how long these attacks have been going on, have you?
I would say she had been here for at least a month, really, before we really noticed that there was a problem.
Does seem a little suspicious that after she showed up all interested in the horse bear, that's when these attacks started.
Hello and welcome back to the Lost Legends of Scadrial Mistborn Adventure Game Podcast. I'm your host and narrator, Trevor, and with me I have the rest of the Lost Legends.
I'm Lena, aka Beladora Wilde.
I'm Zach, playing Finnigan Bomon.
I'm John, I go by Clover My Online, and today I'm playing Clydus Logan.
Let's jump back in. We had last left off with everybody just leaving the general store after meeting with Mayor Mal Hammond, with Finn insulting the way that they choose mayors in the town, which, you know, that's kind of Finn's thing at this point. So what do you guys want to do next?
I mean, last names are no basis for a system of government, man. Come on.
Well, I suppose we should maybe try and track down where this beast last struck. Mr. Mayor, I apologize. My memory seems to be going today. Where, you said there were multiple witnesses at this last one?
Only the one witness, but there has been multiple farms that have been hit.
And the last one you said again was... I'm having a senior moment. It doesn't have anything to do with our recording schedule.
He'll give you directions towards where some of the outer ranches are, where the animals have been attacked in the night, and there's one of them in particular that you remember. Belle told you was where she had witnessed the attack while trying to follow the monster because she was curious.
What do you say we go pick up our historical friend?
I would almost say it'd be a better idea to get a lay of the land first. Particularly since she seems, perhaps a little bit too well informed about these attacks.
Oh, you're just jealous you're not the most well-informed person in town right now.
Well, that's not the only reason, Finn.
Wait, I thought Bella was mainly jealous of people for their looks, not for their brains.
I don't have anything to be jealous of when most people are concerned.
And then there's gossip.
Fair enough. Shall you lead the way, Miss Beladora?
Why, you're a strapping young lad. I think you should go first.
All right, if that's what you prefer. And I guess if we're doing a get a lay of the land, just gonna scout, I guess? Just kind of do a check of the perimeter of all the farms or whatever?
Okay, would you be going to the one that was just attacked, or are you going to check out the ones that have been already attacked first?
I'd say start with the freshest one.
I'd say the most recent.
Okay, what specifically would you be looking for as you're coming up? Like, you haven't quite made it there, but is there anything in particular you'd be keeping an eye out for as you're approaching?
Tracks.
Go ahead and give me a wits roll.
And Finnigan will be looking for, as he's walking down the path, he'll be looking for possible points of entry, any branches or anything that are out of place that look like a creature has crashed its way through.
Go ahead and give me a wits roll as well.
Do I get a bonus at all for my newly acquired trait? Oh, nope. Looks like it just says no adverse conditions +1 for calming animals. All right.
Yeah, doesn't have anything that'll give you an extra die.
I got 5s. You know, it's nice to have 5 wits now instead of 2.
Yeah, I bet that's a huge relief.
When we first said wits, I'm like, oh shit. And then I look at my character. Oh, that's right. I'm smart now.
I got a nudge.
You actually, so let's go this way. Clydus is leading the way, and he kind of sees some tracks and heads off into the woods. Finn has been staring off the other way, and then as he turns back around, Clydus is gone, but he sees a little path like through a small shrub or tree, like a little copse, and he immediately goes over to inspect it, not realizing that was where Clydus had just gone through trying to follow these tracks. Clydus, you, at first, they're very, very misshapen and vague. You realize that a little bit farther out, there wasn't anything that you could really particularly tell other than these are tracks heading in towards. But as you get closer, they start to get a little more clear. And as you're looking at these tracks, you get the very, very distinct impression that these are neither horse nor bear tracks, and you are not familiar with any animal that would make tracks like this.
So they're definitely not horse bear tracks then.
Well, I mean, that remains to be seen, but they're not horse tracks or bear tracks.
Well, do they have any characteristics of either?
Not especially, no.
This kind of reminds me of Avatar: The Last Airbender, where they're at the Earth King's palace and they see just a bear. And it throws them off.
What is that strange creature? Alright, well, Clydus is going to just get his gun out just in case. Follow the leader, I guess. And follows the tracks.
As you get closer, there's a small, like almost I want to say stampede. It wasn't a stampede, but a large number of tracks that starts to obscure it. So you don't get the idea that you'll be able to follow it back out because of all of the tracks of animals coming in and out of this pasture. But you come up to this ranch. There is a house in the back. There's a very large fenced-in pasture attached to a barn. And there are a couple of animals out in the pasture, but they're staying away from one corner of it where you see a farmer who is working on butchering what's left of a dead cow.
And do we know do we recognize where it is based on the directions from the mayor?
Yeah, this would be the one that was just hit.
Oh, okay. So we followed it to the ranch as opposed to following it to where it came from?
Yeah, you found the tracks outside the ranch, but you didn't really see them heading where it came from. And then as you got even closer to the ranch, it was obscured by all the other animals being let out of the pasture.
Gotcha.
Because you do notice that the tracks seem to head straight to the gate, which is why they got lost in translation there.
Well, Miss Beladora, you want to handle the diplomacy here while I keep an eye out for any surprises?
Certainly.
So wait a minute, what exactly is it that we're seeing here? Finnegan's asking about the tracks.
Tracks? It's about all I got right now.
Well, were we following anything in particular? Are they getting lost in all these kinds of tracks? I mean, I'm not the best tracker myself, but you seem the right man for the job.
Oh, that would be the long and short of it. We followed him here. I don't know where he went, or she, or it, or they. And that's why I'm keeping my eyes peeled. And on that note, I'm keeping a watch, Trevor.
Did you say that they went to the gate, the tracks?
They did.
Seems an awfully polite monster to use the gate.
What if the monster can disguise itself?
That's sort of what I'm getting at.
You know, horse bear by day, lion bear by night kind of thing.
That's a hell of a disguise.
Wait, in this scenario, the monster that uses the gate, in your mind, is a lion bear?
Well, it was a turn of phrase. I was just trying to say something outlandish.
Oh, of course, the fabled lion bear of Ellendale. How could I forget?
I feel like you're making fun of me.
Your instincts serve you correctly in this time, my friend.
I'll approach the farmer and introduce myself. Hello there, sir. I'm Beladora Wilde. I'm here on some business investigating this sordid business of a horse, bear, or some such creature.
Well, howdy, ma'am. Seems like you came to the right place, as you can see. This, whatever this creature is, it, came last night and took out one of my cows.
What kind of injuries did this poor creature sustain?
Well, it's the strangest thing. I've been working out here in the roughs for quite a long time, but I've never quite seen anything like this. It's just strange. There's not anything that would suggest it's something like a coyote or a wolf or something like that. I mean, it's got tear marks and claw marks, but not in the kind of patterns that I'm used to seeing.
What exactly makes it so peculiar? Is it just the number of claw marks, or...
Well, for one thing, it doesn't seem like it was too interested in eating the creature. I mean, it probably took a couple mouthfuls, but, you know, usually as going after a big prey animal like this, you got something like a pack or something else. But, you know, as you can see, and he kind of squats down next to the cow and points in a couple of places, it attacked it and it killed it. And it seems like it was only one creature, but even then, you know, you'd think it would pull off some extra meat or do something other than just take a bite here or there. And go ahead and give me a wits roll, Bella.
That's funny. That's a funny joke.
Can I join in to examine at the same time?
Sure.
2 5s.
3s and a nudge.
Clydus, you kind of notice that there's very shallow scratch marks across it in a couple of places, but mostly the killing injury was an attack right for the neck that kind of pulled the neck out, and the animal suffocated after that. Bella, as you like really get close and examine it, and you like look in these areas where the farmer is pointing it to, you notice that the areas where their bites are a little bit bigger or a little bit smaller, I mean, than you would expect for an animal that has predatory carnivorous jaws, and it actually almost looks as if a human has taken a bite out of this cow.
That's terrible. Okay. I will point that out to the boys.
What in the rust?
What do you think we're dealing with here?
Maniac, it sounds like.
A maniac with claws?
Well, she said it bit it, not clawed it.
There are shallow claw marks through it.
Are they a lot... How do I phrase this? How large are they in comparison to what I'm seeing for the bite marks?
I'll say that like you put your hand out and it looks like it would sort of fit the pattern of fingers, except that it's a little although they're shallow compared to what you would normally expect, it's definitely deeper than you would expect, and you wouldn't think that a human would be able to tear into an animal like this just with their nails.
Mm-hmm. But they are approximately human-sized.
Give or take. It's not an exact fit,
Okay.
but it's a close enough approximation.
Well, that's just creepy.
So we're dealing with a man-bear, then?
Or someone who made of some weird kind of glove. Clydus goes back to scanning the horizons.
You're not seeing anything. You're keeping your eyes peeled, but there's just nothing in sight.
And just one more question that I have on my mind. I heard that you had a visitor on the night of this attack, or was that another farm? A witness?
Well, that Belle Saray was here. She's been real curious, hankering to get a look at this animal. So, she's been staking out at several of the farms, but this was the first time she had successfully witnessed the attack.
All right. And could you tell a little bit about how she was acting previous to the attack, afterwards, that sort of thing?
Well, I didn't get to talk to her much afterwards. Beforehand, she's a real polite lady. I don't have any problems with her. My wife and I, we invited her in for dinner, but she didn't want to give up any of the time that she might spend finding this creature. She said something about it only being active at night, and so as soon as she got here, she was all about that.
Did you see her after the attack?
No, I kind of heard the story of what happened through the grapevine afterward, but mostly it was, she went and she followed it, and I heard that she thinks that she might know where its lair is, but beyond that, she wasn't going to stick around after she followed it off the farm. She didn't make any special trip back to talk to me.
Have you spoken with any of the other farmers in the area? Does what happened to your livestock seem to be the same with the other farmers as well?
Same story every time. It's the damnedest thing. There's no broken fences. The gate's open in the morning, and I always swear that I shut it at night. And same thing as with the other farmers, but we can't think of any way that it wouldn't be, unless what you folks are saying. Do you think it's some sort of crazed person who's just pretending to be an animal?
At the very least, it's something with opposable thumbs.
Huh.
That was about my reaction. Well, did you hear much in the way of noise? Or was it silent?
I heard the cows starting to go crazy once the action started, but the ones in the corner of the pasture just ran straight into the barn. I usually leave one of the barn doors open so they can come and go as they please in the pasture, but when I came out in the morning, they were all huddled scared inside the barn.
I see.
Is this the area where it happened?
I haven't, other than the very little cleanup you've seen right here, I haven't moved the thing. And you kind of see he's started to section off some of the animals, so you can very easily tell the difference between his clean cuts trying to butcher it versus where it was mauled. And he started near the rear of the animal, which is completely untouched by the monster.
I don't imagine there's any tracks or anything in the area, anything discernible, that is.
Well, I'm getting a bit of an idea. Stop me if you think that it's a bad one. But if the animals are making noise when one's approaching, maybe we could set up some kind of alarm system. Assuming that you hear that the animal's making the noise.
I mean, the issue we'd run into is we need all three of us to be within earshot of whatever farm's being attacked at that time.
Sorry, Mr. Bowman, I was addressing that question to Mr. Farmer here. What was your name?
You son of a bitch. Keep doing this to me. His name is Demosi.
He's the hosty with the mosey.
Well, pleasure to meet you, Mr. Demosi. So, do you think you would hear the animals, we'll say, with enough time to sound a bell that could be heard from across the town?
Well, we're far enough out from town here. I'm not sure a bell would do the trick. And even if it did, it's such a long trip that I'm not sure what good it'll do you.
Even with horses?
I mean, I guess it'd be worth a shot, but...
Clydus, I already think we have a bell that will do the trick.
Yeah, I'm aware of your theory. Shall we interrogate her?
I would definitely like to see this cave that she was talking about.
So would I.
I'm agreed as well.
Well, Mr. Demosi, thank you for your time. Unless Belle or Finn, you had anything else to discuss?
I'm Bella, thank you very much.
Oh, you got her jealous face going.
My old addled brain. And I start heading us back to the inn, I guess.
Yeah, you get back to the inn. Her table is still empty like it was before.
Mr. Bartender, did you see Miss Ray today?
No, but I imagine that if she's not here, she has to be at the library.
Oh, we haven't gone there yet.
Actually, what keys are missing other than the ones that have been given to... Because you said there was a key wall last time, right?
Yep.
What keys are missing other than the ones from the rooms we're renting out?
There's just the one other one that you assume would be to her room.
That's exactly what I'm looking for. Is there any indication or numbering system for those keys?
Yeah, I'll say that there's a pretty easy numbering system. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 maybe, and then Bella would probably be in room 1 because she wanted a little bit nicer room, if I remember correctly. And then since Belle is having a longer stay, we'll say that she took room 6, which is kind of drabbier and would be cheaper.
I think it's time to come face to face with the door again.
Your fabled nemesis, as I hear from Miss Beladora.
That just gets in the way of things.
I suppose that is true.
Just to clarify, are you saying this in front of the bartender?
Yes.
He frowns and stares intently at the two of you.
Hey.
And Clydus frowns back very intensely.
We've got the mayor's blessing to investigate this, sir.
What do you need to investigate?
By any means necessary.
I'm not sure that's what he said.
Can I convince him that that's what... Can I convince him of that?
Give me a charm roll.
Oh, God. Oh, that is 2s.
All right, you beat him. He doesn't look happy about it, but he gives a small nod of agreement.
I can't believe that worked.
Me either.
Well, I suppose before we go about destroying any property, perhaps it would be best to attempt a subtler type of entry, and I want to try and pick the lock.
My good sir, you don't happen to have an extra set of keys by chance.
He pulls out an extra key and hands it over to you.
Thank you kindly. I go and open the door.
Try before you pry. You enter the room. There are a couple of books scattered around. The bed is neatly made. There's some clothes hanging up in the closet. And other than that, nothing really pops out to you as out of the ordinary, at least at first glance.
You do hear Finnigan grumbling about it being no fun not breaking doors.
Finn, don't worry. I'm sure we'll find some door you can destroy on this particular adventure.
Don't worry, Zach. I won't kill Finn.
So, no bloodstains or anything on the clothes that we can see there.
Give me a wits roll.
My favorite.
Can I get a +1 for investigating Belle, or is that just for interrogation?
No, that's just for interrogation.
Darn.
That was nothing but a nudge.
You get distracted at some of the styles that she has. She's definitely not as well put together and doesn't have the same fashion sense, but as you're looking through her wardrobe, you're getting an idea for how you could take some of the ideas that she had and make them good ideas instead of bad ones.
She's just so outdated. Girl, get with the times.
Are you critiquing her clothing?
What else would I be doing here, Finn?
I don't know, looking for evidence that she's some bloodthirsty monster. That might be helpful.
No!
Well, Finn, what did you find?
I found her room.
Clydus just stares at you blankly, blinking slowly. By the way, what do I get from my nudge?
You look through there, but you're not seeing anything out of the ordinary. No, you do see one outfit that seems a little bit dirtier than the others, but there's no blood on it or anything like that. And it's in a basket on the floor, so you just kind of assume that's the one that she wore the previous night when she saw the monster, since it's got all the dirt on it.
Are there any rugs on the floor?
We'll say there's one throw rug. It's kind of old and threadbare, but since it's the cheaper room, but it's there to kind of make the atmosphere a little nicer.
I'd like to lift it up to see if there's any kind of secret compartment in like a wooden plank or anything where there might be something incriminating stored.
I'm gonna make this a spirit roll. I'm gonna give you a -1 because for her to engineer this sort of thing in a tavern that she's only been staying at a short time is pretty far-fetched.
Yeah, I wasn't sure how long she was staying, but I thought it'd be worth a shot.
Finn, what are you doing?
Rolling threes.
Okay, you pull the rug up and you get on the floor and you start tapping on all of the different floorboards. You don't find any secret compartments, but you do notice as you're going to stand back up, you happen to glance over at the bed and you see a very slim notebook tucked underneath the mattress.
Well, what do we have here? And I will take a gander at the slim notebook.
Dear Diary, today I saw... No, I'm just kidding. You open it up and there are some detailed notes about human anatomy and just not necessarily medically speaking, but just like it's very strange because it's detailing exactly where like different bone structures are and different areas where it's saying to make an incision, but it's not telling you what the procedure would be for.
Well, that's creepy.
This is a little bit strange, yeah. Bella, do you have any idea what this is?
Yeah, it's just a normal woman thing. You wouldn't understand.
What? Clydus just gives Beladora a look of, like, barely, not even really disguised disgust.
Bella pulls
Finnigan's
out her own notebook with very similar notations.
All women are chondrite. I'm sorry, guys. That's just how it is.
Oh, you think she's a chondra?
Oh, that was out of character.
That was out of character.
No, Clydus, I was joking. This is weird as hell.
Okay.
Well,
You had me going there for a second. It's creepy.
I have no comments at this point in time.
Noticeably absent from there is any mention of the horse bear or farm animals or anything like that. It's strictly about human anatomy.
Shall we swipe it or pretend like we didn't see it?
Probably just put it back.
Yeah, I'd say that's for the best for the time being. I don't think we can get any more information out of it.
Well, then I would say probably it would be a good time to make a retreat before our quarry happens upon us in her lair.
Finn, before you guys leave, give me a wits roll.
Do I get a... Would I be able to get a bonus for being unassuming?
Nope, not at all.
I got a nudge.
Okay, I will keep that information stored for later.
All three of us got a nudge.
Oh, this is about me putting it back. Oh, no.
Yes, it is. And you do not remember exactly how you found it.
Well, I feel like we have been particularly stealthy in this outing.
I feel perfectly fine with this. That was not an Irish
No
accent.
hiccups whatsoever. I'm gonna go deliver the key back to the barkeep.
After locking the door, specifying that.
Yes, after locking the door.
Oh, shit. I just rolled for her. She's definitely going to know something's up because she got 2 5s and a nudge.
Don't like that.
But she won't know about it until she comes back.
Until she comes back.
As we're leaving to go downstairs and give him the key, Finnegan's going to look to the door one more time and just kind of sigh longingly.
I'm just imagining the picture of Wolverine with the photo frame, and he's like touching it longingly. It's a picture of a broken door.
Soon, my friend, we shall be reunited.
Yeah, you guys return the key. The bartender takes it. Still doesn't look too happy about letting you guys into her room. He mutters something about the privacy of his clientele. But for the most part, he doesn't seem like he's gonna tell her or anything like that.
Much obliged. Clydus tips his hat.
Thank you, sir. Finnegan tips his hat.
Shall we now go interrogate our suspect? Or I guess first get her to lead us to this supposed lair.
I would say lair first is probably a good idea.
Alright, head to the library.
I might go for a change in clothing first and put on some trousers if we're gonna be hiking around.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Didn't we just hike?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you guys took the horses.
But
to the
I guess
ranch.
you didn't know about it last time.
Yeah. Bella wasn't exactly planning on wading through the grass.
Alright, well, Clydus patiently waits for the change, and then heads to the library.
John, also, you're not playing the character that always wants to change his clothes this time.
Nope.
I think I'll wear the blue tuxedo this time.
That's right.
You guys show up to the library. It's probably the biggest building in the city, but as you walk in, it seems like it's in a little bit of disrepair. There's no librarian who's on duty. You remember somebody, probably either the bartender or the mayor, mentioning that due to budget cuts with the reduced tourism in the past couple of months since this started, that the librarian had to be let go and sought better fortune somewhere else. But it's got quite an expansive collection. Especially you notice that there's one section that's very clearly marked as being the diaries and journals of the first settlers of Hammond, who moved there not very long after the Catasandra at all. So these are records that are a couple hundred years old at this point.
Do we spot the person in question?
Yeah, Belle is... go ahead and everybody give me a spirit roll.
Just a nudge.
Nothing.
Back to 2 dice.
4s and 2 nudges.
Finn walks in first, and you happen to notice that she kind of jumps when she hears the door, and she slides a book back into place and walks towards you guys.
Well, hello, Miss Saray. Tips the hat.
Mr. Logan, hello.
Good to see you again.
We were might curious about that lair you mentioned the other night.
I was wondering when you might be coming for that. It seemed strange that you would just run off and not come get me to help you with this mystery. I mean, you know how interested I am in this.
I'm afraid it was at my insistence. Sorry, Beladora Wilde, I don't believe we've been acquainted.
Pleasure to meet you, Miss Wilde. And she shakes your hand. Well, if you proffered your hand, she'll shake it.
I do offer my hand.
Well, I think I'm ready to depart at once if everybody else is.
You?
We'll also say that you're able to procure a horse for her as well. That way everybody's on horses as you head out. She takes you right by the ranch. As you pass by, she kind of points to a small shadowy area by a couple of trees that are outside of the pasture and tells you that that's where she was hanging out when she saw the monster approach. And then kind of gives a running commentary about how she watched the attack happen, but really couldn't see much because of how dark it was, just the dark shapes, the sound of the animal as it was attacked, and how quickly that it came to pass, where it almost felt like no time at all to her between the animal coming in, getting in and attacking the cow, and then just a few minutes passed before it left again. And she takes you past the gate, takes you away from the town and away from the ranch, in a direction that doesn't seem like it was where the tracks were coming from in the first place. Even though you couldn't follow them all the way back out, you're definitely sure that the animal took a different vector to get to the ranch. But you're traveling for maybe 15-20 minutes before you see a small outcropping of rocks and things in the distance that seems to have a tunnel going into it. And she tells you that she had gotten a little bit closer than she was right now to see the tunnel in the dark, and that's when she decided to turn back for fear of being inside of this cave with the monster.
That was a very reasonable thing for you to do, Miss Saray.
Well, I'm curious, not stupid.
Of course.
Did any of her story seem rehearsed? Is that...
No, it seems as though she's actually recounting the events as they happened.
Well, I'm realizing that we probably should have found some torches for this particular expedition.
I mean, we know where it is now. We can always return whenever we like.
Fair. Come back in the daylight as well.
It's still daylight.
We still probably want torches for going inside, though.
Well, let's go get torches then.
Why can't we just take a stick and set it on fire?
Clydus shrugs and just gestures. Be my guest.
I mean, you're actually going to attempt this? Because the logistics of holding just a stick that's on fire seems a little suspect to me. I'll give you a shot, but it's going to be difficult.
Is this a spirit roll?
No, it's going to be a wits roll.
2 nudges.
Yeah, and I'm not going to give you a reroll on this just because it seems so impractical. You start a fire, and then as soon as you get a stick burning and you pull it out, you start walking a couple steps forward, and then either the fire goes out, you try again, the stick burns all the way through, and the burning part of the stick falls to the ground, and you just can't find a way to get this to work.
What a shame.
Okay, so this wasn't my best idea.
I mean, I don't think it was a bad idea if it would have worked. General store?
Okay, yeah, so you guys head back. I'll say that...
Real quick. I wanna try to have a surreptitious discussion with Beladora on the way back.
Okay. What would that roll be? Probably a physique roll.
I might actually, as Clydus is trying to talk to me, I just kind of like, shh, shh, and then I'm gonna like sidle up beside Belle and try to have a conversation with her.
Okay.
Well, that's just
because
rude.
I'm not comfortable having a conversation with Belle around. So I mostly just kind of want to ask a lot of super casual questions about what she did see of the monster. And, like, if it looked like it was quadrupedal, if it looked like it had large claws. Very leading questions that I would be able to catch her in.
Give me a charm roll and add 1 for skillful manipulator.
Okay. All right. That was 2 4s.
Okay. She gives you roughly the same story, that she wasn't able to see it very much, but she does mention that it did seem to be quadrupedal, and that once you get her going on that, she starts talking about the artful way that it moved and kind of seems a little bit more like enamored with the idea, like making the monster a little more romantic than something that just got into a pen and ripped the throat out of a cow.
What do you mean by the way it moved?
Oh, it just had some sort of a grace to it. I don't know how often that you might have observed predators as they work, but there's just something that's enigmatic about the efficiency of their movements. No energy wasted.
Absolutely. I've had the pleasure of seeing some wolves take down a cow once, and my goodness, that was quite the experience.
What? Tell me more about that. And she's gonna just try and engage you in conversation to try and get you to elaborate on that experience.
Okay, I think that probably Beladora would give a very simple explanation and then try to flip it back on her again. So we're just kind of like playing this game of ping pong.
Give me one more charm roll. +1.
Wouldn't that one be wits?
I still think that it's more using social cues to try and manipulate her into doing it. She's not trying to outthink her like a lawyer and catch her in a trap. She's trying to develop a rapport to elicit more information.
Mm-hmm. That was 3s and 2 nudges.
She got a pair of 4s. So
Oof.
she's more interested in learning about your experiences and trying to figure out what she's missing out on by not having seen that.
Okay. What a weird one. What a strange lady.
What a funny girl, that Belle. When you guys get back to the town, she is going to break off from you guys and head back to the library.
All right. Beladora, here's the thought I had. Very classic suspect interrogation. I just straight up accuse her of your theory and say, oh, well, that's just my colleague's theory. Isn't that weird? You ratchet up her fear and we see what her reaction is.
I do quite like that idea.
And I'll just stay in a corner in case she gets, feisty or anything.
Or if we find any feisty doors.
Should I play good Connor in this whole operation? Are we just doing bad Connor all the way down?
Oh, I think you would play the bad Connor.
Oh.
And I'll play the good Connor who's like, oh, can you believe this fanciful theory of my associate? What a wild idea.
All right. I could get behind this.
Do we want to buy torches first or just head straight over?
I do love a good torch.
Okay, who wants to give me the resources roll?
I can.
Sure. Difficulty 1.
Okay. I keep dunking my dice off the table. That's 2 4s.
Perfect. Yeah, you've got enough torches to for what you think you'd need for the mission. Go ahead and subtract 1 from your resources. 1 spent.
All right.
All right. Well, I suppose now that we're all prepared, we can go confront our villain-to-be.
It's gonna be really embarrassing if we get this wrong.
Well, it's just a wild theory.
I shake my head.
That was subtle.
A wild theory.
Actually, that I didn't even mean that pun, but that makes it all the better to me.
Okay, so you guys are going to the library to look for her?
Okay, the concept, though. We set up in her room, and we confront her there.
Why? She's at the library. We can just talk to her there.
Yeah, but just the drama, though. She opens the door and we're standing there, and I've got a shotgun. Maybe a torch, who knows?
Well, now we're just bad Connor, and bad Connor. There's no good Connor.
You may have a point.
Well, we aren't exactly good Connors either.
I can pretend.
I mean, why don't we just, watch her and see what she does at night?
I mean, we can do that too, but I just kind of want to see her face, to be honest.
Clydus just wants to mess with her head.
Yeah.
Fine. I mean, but if she knows we're onto her and she is in fact whatever is doing this, then...
Well, that's why you're in the corner, Finn. You catch her if she tries to run.
Okay.
All right, so are we doing it? Because I want to do it.
I guess we're doing it.
We're doing it.
I need to have a final answer on where you guys are going.
Library.
Yes.
Okay, you show up to the library and she is not there.
Damn it.
Told you we should have met her at her room.
All right, point for Bella.
Anything you want to do at the library before you head out?
With the you mentioned those books earlier on the early settlers of the town.
Mm-hmm.
Was there is there anything that would, because the man bear legend comes from that time, correct?
Yep.
Or not man bear, horse bear.
Yeah. There's been several accounts of it through different generations of the residents of Hammond.
Were there any books regarding that particular in that section? Were there any books regarding the particular legend of the horse bear?
There's nothing specifically that would be titled The Legend of the Horse Bear of Hammond. And you kind of get the feeling that's part of what Belle was trying to compile from some of the books that she had on her table at the inn.
Okay. That's what I figured, but it was worth a shot.
I'm gonna metagame here, but Zach, you did see her rush to put away a specific book.
Yes, I did. Oh, right, and I didn't tell you guys. That's right.
That's right. So you're the only one who can initiate it.
Well, Belle, when we came to the library earlier, she was looking through a book that she seemed mighty hasty to put away. Something she obviously didn't want other eyes on.
Do go on.
And there was that book that she took from the tavern and left all the other books just at her table. So there's obviously something she's hiding here.
Well, do you remember which book in particular she hid?
Does my 4 and 2 nudges remember what book she hid, Trevor? Because I think it was nondescript, right?
Yes. You head over to the section. Give me another wits roll.
You got it. Threes.
So with your threes, you are extremely confident that you are in the area where she was hiding that book. But as you go to look, you're not seeing anything jump out at you until you finally look at one part in the shelf where there is a book that is now missing.
Oh, she put it in the shelf. Okay.
Yeah, she had kind of jumped and pushed the book back into the shelf.
Okay, I misunderstood that and thought she was hiding it on her person.
No, she was putting it back in with the rest of the books in the library.
Okay. Now, does it look like that's where that book would have originally belonged? Is there anything in the section that would tell me what that book was about?
You're fairly confident that that's where the book would be missing, but you're not sure what that book would be without having it with you, so it's hard to tell whether it would belong in that area or not. And there's nothing in that area that particularly jumps out to you as being suspicious.
So it's not in the library section titled "How to Be Human."
I'd like to go to the anatomy section to see if there are any drawings similar to what we found in her journal.
When you go to the section where you would find that, the only thing that you really can find on the subject would be one of the books that were created by Harmony during the Catasandra that were part of his metal mine storage. So really nothing out of the ordinary, nothing that you couldn't find at any other library.
Is there anything with that specific drawing and bodily anatomy?
No, definitely not. As you're flipping through it, you don't see anything that resembles the kind of notation about like, because his was more about medicine and that sort of thing, whereas her notations that she was making didn't seem to have any medical value from what limited understanding you have of medicine.
Interesting. Okay.
Find anything?
I found some more questions, but that's about it. The book she hid is gone. I'm not finding anything connecting to that drawing we found in her journal. I guess the next step is really to interrogate her and see where it goes.
Well, let's see if she's still at the inn then.
You guys arrive back at the inn. You see the innkeeper, who looks just a little bit confused, and he's holding a set of keys in his hand. Or one key in his hand.
She fly the coop?
She left in a rush. I don't even think she took all her stuff.
What do you think, Beladora, Finn? Should we look at her stuff or chase, or do both?
I think we've got a limited amount of time to find this woman.
I agree. Do we want someone to stay behind, though?
I'd say it's probably best not to split up.
Fair enough.
I'm agreed on that note.
All right, to the horses.
All right. We will go ahead and pick it up again there in 2 weeks more time. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We really appreciate it. Hope that you've been enjoying the second episode of the Hamlet of Hammond, and we hope that you join us next time.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for listening.
Mistborn and all related properties are owned by Brandon Sanderson and Dragonsteel Entertainment. The Mistborn adventure game, the Alloy of Law supplement, and the Masks of the Past supplement are owned by Crafty Games. Special thanks to Steve Argyle for letting us use his artwork for the logo, and to Boardroom Design for putting the logo together for us. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Tumblr, and YouTube at LLOS Podcast, or join our Discord community. We hope that you'll give us a 5-star review on iTunes or whatever podcast provider you use. And make sure you tell a friend who loves Brandon Sanderson. Thanks for listening. Tune in next time. Horse bear by daylight, lion bear by moonlight, using the gate before it gets into a fight.
And Shot in the Head by Clydus Logan. Great song.
Did she just say hello?
Yeah.